What is up guys, Andy Forrester Dean Runner here. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm giving you guys my first impressions of the Saucony Triumph 21. So the white on this shoe did not last very long. Look at that, absolutely caked. But what a run it was. You guys have been banging the drum on this shoe for a while now, and I am delighted to finally test this thing and give you guys my thoughts. For those of you who haven't tried it, you really are missing out. Excited to go through how I tested it, technical overview, and then give you guys my first impressions. As always, a quick disclaimer, this is a shoe that has been sent to me by Saucony for the purpose of review. However, they have no idea of my thoughts on this shoe, they have no editorial control over this video, and they certainly will not see anything before you guys get to see it here on YouTube. So, with that out of the way, let's dive into all those three things we just talked about, starting with how I tested it. So Mondays for me are always steady runs. At the moment, I'm in and around that 50-minute zone. Things will go up as I get into my half marathon training, but right now, 50 minutes steady plus 6 by 20-second strides is where I'm at. And I threw this one in at the deep end. I weighed it. I thought, oh, this really does fall into the lower end of my daily training type of shoes. I thought, is it going to handle moderate work? But just like the On Cloud Stratus 3 last week, it handled it with ease, and it was an absolute gem. So yeah, went out there. It was a mix of concrete, some very flat fire track trails, and then finished back on the concrete for some strides at the end. So we'll kickstart with the usual three things, which is by saying I went true to size in this shoe, UK size 13, thumb width at the end, absolutely perfect, so no need to size up or down in this thing. We're talking about a 10mm heel to toe drop. We've got 37mm of stack height in the heel, 27 in the forefoot, and in my UK size 13 it comes in at 354 grams or 12.5 ounces. And as always, we'll work away from the heel counter, talk about the ankle collar, tongue lacing up at midsole, and then finish off on the outsole. So we'll start by saying it is a flat knit upper which runs all the way around the shoe, and at the back here there's going to be some kind of heel cup buried within that material because it is extremely rigid and there is no movement whatsoever. That kind of follows my finger all the way up here and then back down the other side. Very standard. You see it in the majority of shoes, to be honest with you, bar the exception of racing shoes. Little pull tab thing at the back here, not quite sure what that's all about, but that's there for a little bit of a feature. But overall, very, very comfortable in and around the back section here. Plush, medium plush, let's say. It's not completely puffy padding all the way around, but it is very, very comfortable. They label it as a soft heel counter area. I'd agree. It is very soft, very comfortable, really, really nice. And that includes the tongue as well, which is, I'd say, again, a medium padded tongue. It's not paper thin, but it's not super, super thick, but it is definitely on the plusher side. That coupled with a lovely cut under the ankle bone there, just sits really nicely in the back section of the foot. The tongue is gusseted, meaning it's attached to the medial and lateral sides, inside and out. Bit of elastic on the inside of the tongue that basically attaches to the inside of the shoe here and here. What it does, it just holds the tongue in place so it doesn't slide from left to right, and effectively, what you feel like with a gusseted tongue is when you slip your foot in, it just hugs the top of the foot really, really nicely. So this whole comfort area at the back here is absolutely superb. Laces, standard lacing system. I would love to change the laces if I'm honest with you. They've said they put new laces in it. I'll be honest with you, they're quite kind of like flimsy, stretchy. I would love to just put something a little bit more, with a little bit more something in them, a little bit more meat in them, a little bit more gristly. Do you know what I mean? These are very soft, stretchy fabric. I did lose a bit of tension over the run. Again, that will probably come down to me just kind of having to cinch it down a few times as the runs go on, and then it will probably be fine. But on the first one, I'd definitely say that lockdown is something that I would need to kind of keep tinkering with. Otherwise, the lacing system itself is absolutely fine. Just the laces, which maybe could do with a bit of a tweak. And then we've got that flat knit upper that runs all the way around the shoe. As you can see there's a couple of Saucony logo overlays on there, but overall it's fine. And actually, you saw today I was running in pretty torrential rain. The overlay footage probably wouldn't have shown it particularly well, but the rain was horrific. This shoe, honestly, this shoe is soaking wet. And the water exited, whatever word you want to use, this shoe as fast as it went in, which is great because knit uppers often hold and retain a lot of water. This is very, very well ventilated. Lots of holes in that upper there for the water to get back out. I didn't feel like the shoe was holding on to water, which was a really good sign. That was my worry when I stepped out the door this morning. So it passed that test with flying colours. Power Run Plus midsole, and a whole chunk of it going from back to front, 37, 27, 10mm drop. All of that Power Run Plus goodness. When I opened the box and saw that it was Power Run Plus, I was like, yes, obviously Power Run, originally 2 or 3 years ago, that was used in a few more of their Saucony shoes, a little bit less forgiving. The Power Run Plus, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more soft, a little bit more bounce back. Really, really nice. And that coupled with a Power Run Plus sock liner inside here as well, just adds to the whole comfort of the shoe. Absolutely incredible. Then we've got the rubber outsole, which runs on the majority of the shoe, to be fair. It looks a little bit thicker, a little bit more grippy than some of the stuff we've seen in some of the more speedier shoes, the Speed, the Pro, that sort of thing. There's a little bit more traction here. It felt good in the wet. It certainly did not feel like I was slip sliding everywhere like I have felt like in the Speed. We got quite a wide platform here, as you can see, a nice stable landing, and overall they've done a really good job with this shoe. So on to my first impressions. How did I find this shoe? It was a delight. You guys have been banging the drum about this, as I said earlier. For so long now, you've said you've got to try the Triumph 21. It's amazing. It feels great. And I've got to say, you guys are right. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. A couple of things that I want to highlight with the shoe, just so that you're aware. I really actually don't have any negatives to talk about this shoe. As I said earlier, the laces kind of annoyed me a little bit. I get a little bit bugged when you put so much good stuff into a shoe and then the laces kind of let it down. It is just the finer details there. They're just a little bit too soft, a little bit too stretchy. And I'm kind of like, as I said, you don't necessarily, I did lose a bit of tension over the run. It's hard to describe because with the Saucony shoes, because they wrap over the top of the foot so nicely and feel so comfortable, it's not like it comes ridiculously loose, but you do feel at the end that there is a little bit more movement in the top of the foot. So I might consider relacing the shoe. Otherwise, I have to say, this shoe is near on perfect. The other thing to highlight, I guess, to a lot of you guys, 10mm drop. Even when I land midfoot, which I do usually, unless I'm really tired and my hips sink, and sometimes I fall back onto my heels a bit. But overall, I do tend to land in and around the midfoot and roll through. You do notice the big wedge of foam in the back here. Not that it makes any difference to me, because it's super soft foam anyway. It's not like running in some of the Nike shoes that chuck a wedge of React in the back and it's like landing and you can feel a brick. You're trying to carry a brick behind you. It's nothing like that, and it doesn't affect performance whatsoever. But I know a lot of you guys comment on videos saying things like, oh, 8mm drop is my sweet spot, between 6 and 8, 10's a bit too much. I understand that. I'm just making you aware. You do notice the foam in the heel. When I was running, I was really trying to focus on landing mid to forefoot, and at some points I really was trying to land a little bit more forefoot just to see if I could get rid of that sensation of feeling the foam in the heel. But I couldn't. It's always there, and I think that's just the nature of the 10mm drop. But if I'm honest with you, it doesn't bother me one bit. It was an absolute incredible ride. This shoe is brilliant. The Power Run Plus midsole is incredible, and at 354 grams, just for reference, I say it in quite a lot of shoe review videos, but I've just got to repeat it again in case new viewers drop onto the channel. My normal daily trainer range, weight-wise, in a UK size 13, is between 340 and 360 grams. That's where they usually fall in. And those are kind of my easy to moderate day shoes, but sometimes my moderate or steady run shoes, I often like to use things like the Endorphin Speed or the Brooks Hyperion Max, where for me, I'm talking about now down into the sort of like 290 to 310 range. So I don't usually do moderate runs, excuse me, in shoes this heavy, but it just didn't matter. Like I just didn't notice the weight. I didn't notice, it didn't feel like a 354 gram shoe. It felt so smooth in transition. It felt so bouncy, so comfortable. This thing did everything I wanted it to do. The only thing I struggled with today a little bit was the strides at the end, but then this shoe, I wouldn't particularly say this shoe is built for strides, really. Let's be honest with you. This is a plush, comfortable daily trainer that you should be able to use across the board, but I'd have no hesitation in taking this thing up to moderate pace. It did really well, just like the On Cloud Stratus 3 last week. It surprised me with its weight and what it could handle and what it could do. It moves, which shows that weight isn't always what it's cracked up to be. Shoes can be a little bit heavier, but it's how they move you through the gait cycle, how comfortable they feel, and how good and responsive the foam is. And this has really, really blown me away, if I'm honest with you. This really will go to the top of the rotation, if I'm honest with you. This is going to get a lot more miles very, very quickly. I say that about a lot of shoes that I test. And I feel very fortunate at the moment that I am testing a lot of shoes, but this one really has come in there, and it's really right up there at the top of the charts for me. So yeah, I've got to be honest with you, I could keep just repeating the same thing. I won't. I'm just going to leave it there and say this thing is incredible. If you haven't tried the Triumph 21, you really should consider it. It's worth noting that this particular model, I believe, is fully vegan, so all the materials used in it are vegan. So if that ticks your box, then this is a good option to go for. Don't know if all of the models are vegan, but this one in particular is. And yeah, I'll be honest with you, an easy moderate day shoe, which is brilliant. And in the wet weather conditions, it was great. And the grip was fantastic, and everything bar the laces was absolutely incredible. So yeah, I won't bang on about it anymore. I'll leave it there. And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Are you one of the people that have been telling me over the last few months in the comments below, try the Triumph? If you are, drop a comment and let me know how many miles you've got in them. How are they holding up? How's the durability? I'd love to know how this Power Run Plus midsole holds up for. I know Power Run, the original one, was quite a durable midsole, a little bit less forgiving, a little bit firmer, but I know it went on for quite a while. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on Power Run Plus and how far that goes. Obviously the Speeds and the Pro that I am used to testing, that runs Power Run PB. And I know that midsole can go on for quite a while, so I would love to hear your thoughts on Power Run Plus in the comments below. That's it from me today, guys. What a shoe. Delighted to have this one again in for rotation. What a beauty. And thank you so much once again, Saucony, for sending me this shoe to review. That's it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do consider giving it a like, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. I'll see you in the next one. Until then.